actually really appreciate also how Ninja Squid's starting to fall out of favor for some of these teams as well. So you get a lot like faster team play as well because you're able to like literally get around the map a lot quicker. Like peel
Yeah.
for your teammates.
Something that FLC talked about on the Rainmaker Cup a little while back was the importance on this game in particular of getting like past mid, getting as much space as you can with every fight win. That like as soon as there is a fight that's won, he's like, you need to have someone in their base, just like immediately.
Yeah.
Just get someone in their base. And I think that there is definitely a lot of value in reconsidering Ninja Squid if that's your goal, because like if you're just trying to put like a sloshing machine in their base, well they got to get there first. And once they get there, you're probably going to know where they are because they're going to be throwing fizzy bombs at you. So the stealth is only going to help so much in those cases. And I think something else that's happening is that e-leaders are falling out of favor a little bit more.
That's true too. Yeah.
That was one of the big reasons that Ninja Squid was so powerful, was that you had to not get seen by someone who could see the entire map and one-shot you from there. And so the less those are being played, the more we're seeing like double crab with full frontline. I think that that's another reason that Ninja Squid will start to fall off more and more.
This is something I've just been kind of like repeating a lot more recently, but trading is never, I would never say never, but it's very often not an actual like one-to-one trade. Typically, the team who needs to like push out and take control, if they trade, they're at the disadvantage. Like they lost that fight basically, right? So if you're in a position where you're defending and you push out in the middle of nowhere, not only are you trading, or let's say you trade as well, not only are you taking the value by trading because you're the defending team, you can just jump back in, but you're also taking any value that they could have had potentially by trading on the zone away from the zone, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. The way I've always put it is that trading reinforces the status quo. So whoever is in control when the trade happens,
Yeah, that's a
they
good way.
maintain
Yep.
control.
It's a really good way to put that. I
Oh,
just
crab.
love how quickly you see them go from like winning the fight to immediately being in their spawn. Like I know you're mentioning that earlier, but like seeing it actually play out is just like unreal. You never see that in like Anarchy or anything. Even like mid level teams and whatnot in comp, they struggle with this kind of like pacing so much. Because like look how much blue is in mid. That doesn't really matter at that moment because they're so focused on like actually like actually scoring and setting up for like a proper win condition. So
Yeah,
they just ignore everything, just dive and take the positions that they need.
you really only start seeing that sort of pace by like Div 2 or Div 3 level, where
Yeah.
like as soon as the like objective is under control, or the momentum is in your favor, they're in your spawn. So that's something, if you're looking and you're like a mid-level or low-level team, this is something that doesn't come across super clearly when you're just watching, because both teams are probably going to be playing at this level. But if you were to play against a team like Seo, one of the things that would be a huge deal would be that they take more space for every fight win because they're more aware of the game state. They know when they've won a fight quicker, and they're acting on that quicker because they know immediately to be taking what space on the map, where they're already planning their route through that fight so that they're near that spot on the map when the fight finishes. That was something FLC talked to me about, that like when you roll out in neutral, you always want to be putting yourself in a position where if you do win a fight there, the next step is very near to you, like the next spot that you're going to be pushing after that. So like winning a fight matters a lot less if it takes you 5 seconds to get into a position where you matter. Whereas if you took the fight on the spot where you are like en route to where you matter, you can just get there that much quicker.
Right, exactly, yeah.
All right, well, they get one back. Looks like, who was it that pushed up there? Okay, so it's Enry and Red Shell are trying to push up. Red Shell goes down, Enry goes down promptly afterward. And they get kind of forced to panic a little bit by the whale, and so the whale forces them out of position. And we're still in control here. And this is the sort of thing that you see a lot, especially from like Starburst, where you'll feel like you defended successfully, but they've been so efficient about getting jumps back in and keeping pressure forward that they respawn and they're back in the quote unquote neutral state, the numbers advantage, before you even get off your plat.
And another like really important thing that you see this a lot with like less experienced teams or in like Anarchy or whatever. You could like or you could lose a fight, and one of your teammates or whatever, you'll basically have the idea like I'm just gonna push for points on tower, right? But what you saw is like the second Q died, everybody just backed up. Whoever was alive just like backed off and like gave space, right? And if you look now, like even when they got on tower, like I saw Leafy get on tower for a brief moment, they just immediately got off just to keep the tower like in their control. So they keep getting special and the tower doesn't leave them. So even though they're not necessarily playing objective for points, them keeping it there and like playing off of what space that they gave originally just kind of keeps their momentum.
Right? They're playing not to stagger rather than playing not to lose objective for 2 seconds. Because the tower is going to move back to mid very slowly. Like, they still have the advantage for a good, like, 10 seconds before it will ever get back to mid. So, instead of just giving up all opportunity to use that to push to 35 instead of 36, they're going to use that to keep the enemy team from even getting to 99.
Yeah, exactly.
Slight advantage to Seo, but one of them gets tracked down. Good trade back. And Leafy's already on top. That gets traded. And so we're in, what, 2v2? 2v2. So this is kind of a win for Tempest, except that they have not been able to enter mid yet. They're still not off their plat. There's still yellow players swarming around their wall.
See, it's still a situation where even if you trade, even if you win and stop the objective, you don't really win, because if you're even, you're still the team that has to push out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so going for these trades, totally worth it. Even if Seo just like takes these trades constantly back and forth, back and forth, back and forth the entire rest of the match, they're in the lead. That's fine.
Right.
The other team has a whole checkpoint they've got to push through, and keeping it in this tumultuous state, as long as they don't end up actually going down for it, as long as they're covering themselves so well by trading back, they don't necessarily need to actually win solidly. They just need to not go down by too many players.
And again, you see like kind of like the situation with Inkblot where like two people push way into their spawn while the objective gets to this area that normally is just like the end of every other team's push.
Mm-hmm.